Yes, good evening, students. So, waiting for everyone to join right now, and then we'll start the session. This is session number
Good
4.
evening, sir.
Yes, good evening, Raksha. Good evening. So, today we'll start the next topic, that is HRP, Human Resource Planning. Okay, waiting, I think, for 5 to 10 minutes. Let's everyone join in, and then we'll start.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shabana. Shabana, I think happy Eid might be if you are celebrating today, or advance celebration, I think, for that day.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So you might have that extra Gavinza party at your home today.
No, sir, tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow it is. So from where you are, Shabana?
Hyderabad, sir.
Hyderabad. Oh, great. Like it's famous for biryani. Actually, I've been there twice. I think in
Yes, sir.
it's a great place actually. So let's wait. I think for a few minutes, and we'll start with HRP, Human Resource Planning. So tomorrow, I think we do not have any leave actually. So tomorrow again we have a sessions. Okay, same time 6 to 8. Okay, students, so waiting I think for a few minutes. Then we'll start this topic, HRP. So I think this is your third topic of our syllabus, human resource planning.
Yes.
Okay, so waiting for a few minutes, I think, and then we'll start. Is there any doubt, any query from the last session? I hope so. Everything is clear. Okay, we'll start the class at sharp 6:05. Okay, 11 have joined. Let's have the strength till please 20 plus. Okay, and then we'll start.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Anuj.
How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely good, sir. Just finished my college classes and just joined you all.
Okay, now health side is
Yeah, everything
okay,
is perfect now.
complete.
Everything is perfect, yes.
Okay, sir. Thanks for
Yes,
God.
sir. Yes, sir.
Everything
Thank
is
you.
back. Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Anuj. Just waiting for a few minutes, okay? Let's have 20 plus at least, okay, in the class. So now we have 18 in the class, 17 we can say, I think. Just waiting for 1 more minute, I think. Okay, and then we'll start. Hanji. So I think we should start the session now. And in this session, we will cover up the major topic and major points regarding human resource planning, their strategies, and the process, how the human resource planning can be done, and the various factors which may affect the human resource planning in an organization. Okay. First of all, when we discuss about what is human resource planning, the human resource planning is, maybe you could say, an approach to which we are actually analyzing the demand of a particular firm and the future demand of a particular organization in terms of hiring the people from the market. Okay. Now, these hiring, basically, we are discussing about the balancing between demand and supply. Okay. As you know that usually in India, if we talk about the companies hire in the you could say in the period after the financial year end, most of the people, like a general you could say philosophy, general trend, if we talk about in the market, they always leave the job once either they have an increment or they have completed the financial year or the calendar year in the company. After that, it's the right time to switch the company when the opportunities are high. So in order to understand all such concepts and the companies, because human resource turnover or employee turnover is one of the, you could say, most common phenomena nowadays, because of the switching pattern which the employees or the people follow to actually search for the right fit which they are looking for. Okay, so in the case of HRP we're talking right now, it is a forecasting method through which we are actually managing the future requirement of the company, and according to that we are analyzing the supply, and according to supply or the market availability we have, we choose the right candidate in the right number in the organization. Okay. Now, as I think we discussed in the initial phase about human resource management, now under human resource planning, we have basically three major heads through which we can understand the concept of HRP. The first concept, 1 minute. The first concept, it is called basically, the first concept, it is called need, availability, or supply and demand. Need, availability, or supply or demand. So just a minute, okay? Yes, students. I think, am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Just 1 minute, please. Yeah, fine. It's working now. So the first parameter on which we are talking about the HRP, it includes the need, availability, and demand and supply propositions. Okay, as we know that the company always actually assess whenever even they are, you could say, going for the expansion, or if the company is looking for, you could say, identifying their you could say people, those who might get retired, those who might be company will fire in this financial year or in the next month, we can say definitely company always want replacement, they always need substitute, they always need a particular suitable and the, you could say, right candidate which fit to that particular job job, you could say location, or we can say job profile, better to say, I think so. So in order to understand the demand of the company always actually I would say always actually try to focus being a proactive in order to search, train them, you could say, and analyze them regarding their requirement, and definitely as per the requirement, definitely the supply and demand proposition may be matched. Okay. The second part which comes under this particular definition, it's about right number, capabilities, and organizational objectives. Okay, when we discuss about the right number means definitely there should not be any excessive. Like for example, if in an organization you require 10 people, definitely it will increase the cost to the company. So somehow it is very, very important that whatever the exact number, because exact definitely it is more, we could say, it's not a practical term, better to say, I think so. So company always actually approximately taking a range of, you could say, people or the human resource which they always want to hire. So the first thing, it's all about right number. Okay, that right number is totally based on plus minus 5%. Okay, plus minus 5%. I mean, there should be a variation in the hiring process. Okay, capabilities. Capabilities basically is all about their temperament, their skill level, their knowledge, and when we discuss about their focus, their values. Okay, their technical ability, we can say. So these all, you could say, parameters which may actually play extremely crucial role, because capability is basically, we can say, more a combination of physical as well as mental. Okay, so these both the combination will come under capabilities part. And organizational objectives, ultimately the major purpose behind hiring, major purpose behind this planning about human resource in advance for future project, for diversification, for, you could say, replacement, for substitution, for all purposes. Definitely, ultimately, the major goal is that the organizational motive, their objectives, their target should achieve on time. Okay, that is second definition we're talking right now. The third one, translation of objective into HR number. Okay, now human resource numbers we are talking right now means we are discussing about translation. Translation means, as we know that, like for example, if we have 100 workers working in the company, okay, definitely other 100 people has given the same level of training, same level of, you could say, orientation in the company, and same, you could say, resources with the company also providing them, same salary structure, we can say, everything is, you could say, uniform. But as we know that all 100 won't be able to give 100% to the company in order to achieve their objective. So out of 100, for example, 30 is again a very high number. 30, 40, or even later 50% people, those who might be actually translating or giving the output to the company, giving the desired output to the company in the long run in order to achieve the organizational objective. So it is nothing but the percentage of people, those who are giving at least their 100% or close to 100% in order to achieve the company's objective. That is called the translation of objective into HR numbers. So the basic three parameters on which we always analyze the HRP, human resource planning. Haji, any doubt to anyone, please?
No, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Second, we have second definition. It's very again simple. It is about the including the estimation of how many qualified people are necessary. Qualified means I told you the attributes. Okay, out the assigned activities, how many people will be available, and what if anything must be done to ensure that personnel supply equal to personnel demand at the appropriate point in the future. I mean, definitely your demand and supply must have to be carried out. We discussed already the definition actually. One more definition I have afterwards. Okay, that is about simply nothing but right number, right kind of people, right place, right time. I think if you remember, initially I told about 5 hours concept. Okay, that is a 5-hour concept we are going for in the planning process as well. Okay, so I think, student, we have already discussed this particular example and this definition as well. Okay, I think we should move to the next slide. Just have a look, please. I hope so. It's clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's move to the next part now. That is the summary of this HRP definition. The first one, it is basically the process of forecasting an organizational future demand for supply. So ultimately, the demand supply proposition for right candidate or right type of people. Okay. Now, as we know that once the HRP is done, definitely the company may have to initiate the further processes. As I told you already, once you plan the number of people required in the next month, next 6 months, we are talking right now. After that, the company may need to plan about their recruitment and selection process, and their, you could say, detail accordingly would be published in the concerned advertising agency. Next, we have the subsystem. Subsystem means it is all about basically the HRP planning, or HRP, sorry, is better to say is the total organizational planning. It is not about the planning about a particular concerned department, but it is basically planning about whole organization. And according to that, a company may need to understand the requirement for each and every department, and they always need to keep this tempo, okay, keep this actually without any, you could say, discrimination in the departments. They need to understand that ultimately, if we'll work in integrated manner, if we'll work in a cohesive manner, definitely the company may be able to achieve the desired objective or desired result which they are looking after. Okay. Next one, we have the right type and right number of personnel. We discussed already, I think 2 to 3 times. Then we have the last definition. As we know that if the company is basically focusing on merely a guesswork, I mean, they are just going for, they are not actually, what better to say, I think if they are not opting some scientific method in order to plan, in order to find out, in order to calculate the exact number or approximate number of people required, their skill set, their knowledge, their experience, or whatever you could say attribute the company is looking for, it merely cannot be a non-scientific approach. It should be a scientific approach. It is more, you could say, analytical approach, more you could say a practical approach, with the help of which the company may be able to plan about their exact number which are required. And along with that, there are so many other calculations which we need to keep in mind regarding their training, regarding their remuneration, and other benefit which the company may provide to them. Okay, so it's basically the summary of what actually HRP is all about. Anji. Is this part clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes.
Now, next one we have, that is about scope and importance of HRP. Okay, the first part, forecasting the future personnel needs. Okay, and as we know that whenever we discuss about the future personnel needs or future personnel requirement, we are always concerned about the right candidate, those who fit to that particular job or the requirement of the company. Okay, now in this case, as you can understand from this particular definition as well, the purpose of basically forecasting is just to predict the right size or right number of candidate to be to get hired for the future projects of the company. Clear? It's very, very simple topic actually as well. Next one is cope up with changes. As we know that, like recently, I think I have given the example of banking sector in the, I think, first or second class, that how the banking people who were reluctant to opt the technology aspect in the organization, because they are not actually aware, they are not actually go through, they're not familiar with all such, you could say, parameters. So in such a case, if it is possible, like for example, because of the competition, because of the market condition, or technological upgradation, government regulation, you always need to actually enhance the quality, skills, knowledge, and technicality, we can say, of your manpower. Okay, so in order to, you could say, cope up with the changes, cope up with the dynamic changes of the market, you always need to train your worker, you always need to train your employee, so that they can actually face all such market challenges, and you could say the opportunities, better to say, I think so as well, that may be actually learned, that maybe you could say taught, that may be actually clearly explained them, so that they may be actually able to tackle the company with their consumers in a right direction, the right manner. Okay, recently, like if we can say that regarding GST, once the GST was launched, it was a complete, you could say, change in the system, how the bills were created, how the things were actually opted by the company. After that, there are so many complexity has been arise, so many queries has been arise. Now, for such purpose, your accountant, your accounts department, your finance department must be ready and trained in order to understand the GST concept. And according to that, they can actually work on the principle of GST and the technicality they must have to understand. Okay, like for example, again we take an example of, you could say, technological upgradation in the organization when it is for machinery. So for a machinery working in the company right now, the labor available we have, those who can operate those machinery. But suddenly, like for example, if the company need to replace the new machinery in order to, you could say, upgrade themselves, in order to, you could say, maintain the efficiency of the company, reduce the cost of the company. For such purpose, if you are hiring a machinery, definitely you must have the potential labor available to operate such machineries as well. That is about the cope up with changes. According to that, you need to hire new employee, or you may have to upgrade the knowledge or skill set of the existing employee. Next one, creating highly talented personnel. Highly talented, again, I think it's related to same previous point only, that how the skill set, how the knowledge, how the experience, how the certification process, if you can provide some technical, you could say, training to them. These all things actually you may actually provide to your worker in order to consider them as an asset in the company. And definitely these are the most important aspect for a particular company to nurture, to have a, you could say, exponential growth in the future. That is about the creating highly talented personnel. Any doubt in 3 points, please? Very simple points.
No, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. Because this topic is very, very simple. Okay. Next one, we have protection of weaker section. I think that we discussed in the last class itself. Okay. How the HR manager is basically also focusing on, you could say, based on the protection to the minority, protection to the particular, you could say, reservation, physically handicapped, the issues of child labor, the women empowerment of women, the percentage of women to be hired in the company. Okay, so these all, you could say, parameters may, you could say, play a very crucial role whenever we are going for percentage of hiring for a particular category of employees. Okay, so that the company may provide the equal opportunity to everyone to get selected in the organization without any biasness, without any, you could say, discrepancies in front of the society or in front of the government as well, we can say. Next one, we have international strategies now. Now, when we discuss about the international strategy, I think it's a topic, this point we also covered up in the last class, that when we are actually working, like running an MNC, you have people belong to different countries. And in order to manage those, you could say, heterogeneous, you could say, people, heterogeneous in terms of their knowledge, their skills, their working style, their culture, okay, their way of, you could say, operating, managing the company or approaching to the management, each and everything is basically quite different. Okay, so the manner in which the Indian employees working in an IT company, for example, the manner the foreigners or the person belong to other country working in India in that same company, they have a different perspective of working. They have a different style of working. In order to manage, in order to, you could say, assist them, in order to integrate them, better to say, I think so, it is very important that the HR manager must need to plan certain policies, certain orientations, certain, you could say, sessions, so that the employees must work together without any differences, without any, you could say, biasness, without any, you could say, ego approach, we can say in the company, and without any discrimination as well. Very important point when it comes to international strategies. Okay. Next one, we have foundation of personnel function. Foundation means very simple again, like whenever you are planning about the human resource, you need to understand about the recruitment, selection, personal development, and training and development, certification. Each and everything will come under foundation of personnel functions. Okay. Next one, we have increasing investments in human resource. Now, as you can see that now the company is giving more value to the human resource nowadays. They are giving, you could say, they are considering them as an asset, and that's the reason they are actually giving them, you could say, an open environment in the company, so that a person may approach, a person actually may approach the management regarding their career planning, regarding their training, regarding their development, regarding their education, if we talk about, better to say as well. So each and everything, the company is giving them at 100% in order to actually improve their skills, improve their, you could say, knowledge base, improve their skill set in the long run. And that individuals may become the, I could say, a very important asset and may actually play a very vital role in terms of success of the organization. Clear? Next one, resistance to change and move. Okay, there are some people, some workers working in the company, those who are very reluctant when it's come to there any changes in the company's policy, changes in the working hours, changes in the remuneration, changes in the, you could say, their leave benefits or their number of leaves, we can say. So if anything which is being, you could say, initiated by the company, any changes as the company is incorporated, in all such cases, the company must have to evaluate that what exactly the issue, what exactly the challenge which they are facing, and where they were wrong in that process. So it is resistance to change and move, because company need to understand the reluctancy, the reason of reluctancy, and how the company can resolve all such issues in the company. That is called resistance to change and Hanji. Any doubt, Ayushi? I think. Yes, student, please
Sir.
don't unnecessarily unmute yourself, please.
So
Okay?
please explain point 7, increasing investment in HR.
Yeah, increasing investments in HR, we are talking about, as we discussed in the last session as well. We previously, like we discussed the evolution, how the human resource are considering only a labor in the company. The company is basically less concerned about their expectation, less concerned about their growth and their development. But now scenario is completely changed. In order to preserve the gems, you need to nurture them. You need to protect them. You need to pamper them. Again, I wanted to say actually as well. Okay. In such a cases, you always need to provide them such, you could say, opportunities in terms of learning, in terms of, you could say, their education, their certification, their skill development. So for such purpose, the company must have to invest into your human resource. Clear, I think?
Yes, sir.
Understood, I think, Raksha.
Yes, understood, sir.
Yes. Because it happens in the, like, even like being a faculty, if you are working right now, the college is providing a lot of facilities to faculties when it's come to research work, when it's come to conferences, when it comes to publishing their papers, when we talk about like giving a lot of, you could say, platform where we can present the colleges, okay, where we can actually give our own, you could say, what I can say, we can represent the institute, and we may represent our research paper, research work as well at the national and the international platforms. So these are the basic, you could say, like I'm talking only in the terms of academics right now, but in every sector, if you will see, the companies are nowadays, the things has drastically changed, because you have to consider your human resource as a capital, as an asset for the company. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, perfect. Any more query, any more doubt in all these points, please? Any example if you need for any of the topic, please let me know. I think I'll request everyone, please, it's my humble request, don't unmute yourself in between, please, else I have to mute everyone. And tomorrow you don't have a holiday, okay? We have a class from 6 to 8. So don't consider tomorrow as a holiday, fine? Hanji. So any query to anyone in this point, please? Shall we move?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And the other benefits we have in this particular case, the upper management has a better view of HR dimension of business. Okay. Now, as you know that even though we have HR managers available in the company, but still each and every concerned head of different departments when it comes to HR, finance, marketing, they always need to consult if they want to make any changes in the policies, if they want to actually give any suggestion to the top management, to the board of directors, to the owners of the company. In such cases, it's very important that they have a better understanding, or they can actually, they are the one actually, those who have created that company, those who have actually nurtured those company. And these managers working or heads working for different department are just basically the directive end of the top management. Okay, so it's very important that the human resource planning from the perspective of the top management is one of the best actually what they can serve, irrespective. Definitely the HR manager is performing his or her duty, but still the top management inputs are always very, very crucial in order to plan, in order to, you could say, design the HR policies. Clear? Second point is again related to that only. The management can anticipate the imbalance before they become unmanageable and expensive. And as you know that, that's the reason like we have a periodic meeting, the top management, the owners, the concerned authorities are always taking the reviews, always taking the, you could say, input from the different heads. And according to that, they always assess, they always analyze. And according to that, they always think that rather that things may become worst, it better that we have to manage all such things right now. Because we actually, I think, discussed few examples in last cases regarding the strikes, regarding the unions, how this union form. Because something which is not, you could say, something fishy, I think we can say in the company, you need to find out the reason immediately. Rather that the things may become, you could say, a big propaganda, a big, you could say, challenge for the company in the future. Okay. Third point is more time is provided to locate talent. Definitely, it's very important that whenever we are searching such pool of talent, or some, you could say, individuals to whom you want to fit at the responsible position. So it is a process which take times. It's process basically in which we need to understand the requirement of the company. Okay, so that is about the more time is required to locate talent. And it's a, once the process is done, once you have identified, once the particular person has gone through that roster, definitely you can select that, you can decide that which one suits best to that position. Okay, then I think that this particular topic for point number 4, that is about the better opportunity exists to include women and the minorities in future growth plan. Definitely, it is giving, you could say, more, you could say, what we can say, the more transparent, more, you could say, yes, transparent, definitely policy without any discrimination. Okay, so these policies must have to be included, and we need to give the equal opportunities irrespective of the category, caste, creed, gender you belongs to. Okay, better planning of assignment to develop manager. I think it's very simple. Major and successful demand on local label market can be made. Okay, it's very important that like for example, you know that like whenever a particular foreign company gets settled, they start their operation in Indian market, they always need some local labor. I mean the local people, those who can operate the company. Okay, when you talk about IT companies, manufacturing, groceries, automobiles, they always need the labor from the existing market, or from the market where they have located. And according to that, because without them, definitely you cannot even survive in the market, because the language barrier, for example, a company belongs to US and want to settle their operation in India. Okay, the language may be barrier, the culture may be barrier, and you do not have the idea regarding the requirements, the aspiration, the attributes of that locality or society. And that and these are the local labor become the key inputs for those companies in order to, you could say, give them the right guidance, right suggestion regarding the dynamics of that local environment. So the other benefits we have regarding the HR. Anji. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Anji, Anji.
Yes, sir.
Now, human resource system architecture. Okay, just see this structure right now. Just have a look. And I think it's very simple that how the manpower and the human resource is planned in the company. you can see let's start with the business environment. Okay, how the first of all the environment or the atmosphere in which the company is working. Somehow the company need to design their objectives and the goals, their targets, their vision, missions. According to that, you will actually plan about their manpower forecasting. Okay, and whenever you are talking about the manpower forecasting, it is regarding manpower programming, manpower implementation, and control and manpower evaluation. Programming is basically just finding the right fit, the right match, the right candidate. Implementation means giving them training, giving them assessment, orientation, and just you could say give them a live portal where they can start working and the company can evaluate their performance on a periodic basis. Okay. After that, you can see that either when we have the manpower available, either the manpower may be in the surplus in the company or maybe in the shortage. And if they are in surplus, how the manpower may be managed in the company, or if they are in shortage, how we can recruit from the market. So this management between demand and supply is a major goal and the major architecture, the system or the flow in which how the company may actually plan regarding their human resource based on the demand and supply proposition. Here, everyone. Very simple structure.
Sir, can you show the slide number 7?
7 you want? Yes, you're
Thank
done.
you, sir.
I think.
Yes, sir.
Is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Hanji, hanji.
So what is manpower supply assessment?
Manpower supply assessment is basically nothing but when we are talking about, you could say, the availability of the right candidate, or you could say the pool. Okay, you know that it's a heterogeneous assessment we are talking right now. And you always need to actually find out the right match in that, you could say, pool. So manpower supply assessment, I think basically whether you have the availability of the candidate which you are desiring or which is desired by the company. Okay. And according to that, you could say desire, whether the sufficient number of options you have or not, or alternative is available or not. And among the alternatives, which particular person you will select for the position which you are looking after. That is manpower supply assessment. Supply means basically, is there sufficient number of people, number of resources available in that locality or not? That is the manpower supply assessment.
Hello.
Yes, please.
HRP full form.
Pardon, I think. Mr. Ashok, please, you want to say something?
HRP full form.
HRP full form is Human Resource Planning.
Oh, okay, sir.
Hanji.
Sir, manpower forecast.
Hanji. Manpower forecast means whenever we are actually keeping up, you could say, a proactive approach in order to understand and assess the future requirement of the company. Okay, and according to the future requirement, you always actually plan the demand, and according to demand, you are actually looking after for selection recruitment of the new employee in the company. Hanji, is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Manpower.
Yes, Ashok, please tell me.
surplus manpower.
I'm not able to understand. Surplus manpower. Okay. Surplus manpower means when you have the, you could say, the resources or the human resource available in the company, which is more than desired or required in the company. That is called surplus manpower. And in such a case, definitely the desire or the
A shortage of
exceeded one may be idle in the company. Yes, please.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Understood?
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, yes.
Ashok, please kindly mute yourself. Okay. Anji. So shall we move, I think, to the next slide? That is HRP process. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the human resource planning process, we are discussing about the various points under that. The first point is an important line, that is about the organizational objectives and policies. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the as per the organization policies or as per the objectives of the company may have to formulate these 7 points. The first one, whether we have to go for internal hiring or external hiring. What is internal hiring, first of all?
It's within the
Give the chances from internal employees to is or promotion, get promotion inside the plant.
Yes, very good, very good. Okay, either the company is going for, actually, there are two things actually we can understand in this case. Either you are actually promoting the existing one, or you may be actually planning about taking the references from your existing employees so that they may refer the right candidate without actually going for advertisements and the complete process. You may actually reduce your cost of hiring as well in such a cases in the case of internal hiring. If the internal hiring is not sufficient enough, you may go for the external hiring process. Okay, you may hire from the open market. Then I think training and development, union constraints, again, one of the important point, because if the policies which is being launched by the companies or designed by the company, it is against the interest of the, you could say, worker, definitely you may face the challenges, you may face the obstacles later on. Job enrichments, promotion, their perk, their benefits, okay, their, you could say, transfer. A lot of things are there which come under job enrichments. Okay, that may be one of the issues because it may be contradictory for so many people. Right sizing operations. Okay, right sizing organization. Right sizing means the right number of people at the right place at the right time. It is being executed or implemented in the organization. Means all the 4 R's we are talking right now. Automation needs means what type of, you could say, skills required in the company. Okay, that is about the automation. But automation need is basically nothing but the technical soundness or technical knowledge of the individual working in the company. Those individual must have to be, you could say, must have to be hired, or either they have to upgrade their skills in order to sustain in the company in the long run. Okay, and continuous availability of adaptive and flexible workforce. Okay, so the flexible and adaptive means that basically in case of any changes in the market, when it's come to government plans, taxation, customer tastes and preferences, procedures of manufacturing of goods, okay, all these, you could say, operating changes, if you're talking right now, the workforce must be, we can say, ready, prepared in order to face those challenges. So organizational objective and policies should be designed in such a manner.
Hello.
Yes, Ashok, please.
Hello. Sir.
Sir,
Yes, Sudhir, please.
automation replace
Ashok, I think we can't hear you properly. Either you can just rejoin because might be some network issue at your end. Okay.
Sir, third point and fourth point, can you explain it again?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Ashok, just wait a minute, okay? So, Mr. Uday, the third point and the fourth point I'm explaining again now. The third point is basically associated with the union constraint. Like, as you can see that recently, I think yesterday itself, we have given the example of banking sector, that like the banks merger, the privatization of Bank of India is going, the government is planning for, and definitely it is an object in the policy which the government is looking after regarding the banking. So the union always oppose such decisions which is being taken by the organizations. That is point number 3. Point number 4 is job enrichment issue. Job enrichment means you can see that there are, you could say, the promotions or any assessment which is given by the company. These promotions must be transparent and given on the merit. Okay, there should not be any, you could say, a criteria which is more subjective, which is more, you could say, non-probability based assessment, in which you do not have a fixed criteria to enrich, to promote a particular person in the company. And that maybe you could say one of the issue or challenges which the company faces. I mean, there should be a uniformity. There should be, you could say, transparent policies must be launched.
Okay, got it.
Understood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Ashok, please tell me now. What's your query? Ashok, I am waiting for you, please. I think so. We should move.
Yes.
Yes, sure. So like as you can see that the next point we have, that is manpower demand forecasting. Okay, manpower demand forecasting, I think as we are discussing right now, that is about the future demand. And according to that, the company may actually plan their budgets. The company may plan their, you could say, resources for the long run. Okay, the demand forecasting, whenever the company has to do, there are certain internal factors which we need to focus on. The budget constant, the constant related to finance, the costing of the company, production level which is required according to the number of labor would be hired, new product and services according to the potential requirement of the company. These are the internal factor which may decide the type of labor we need to select. Organizational structure which you want, and employee separation. Separation means basically what type of employee required, skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, and number of semi-skilled, skilled, and unskilled. That is about the employee separation. Now, when it comes to external factor, we have the factors like competition level, environment, economic climate, law and regulatory bodies, technological changes, and social factors. So these may be the, you could say, the external factor which we are talking right now. It's very simple actually. We're talking the points which we're discussing right now. Okay. Now, what are the reasons which we need to go for manpower demand forecasting? The first one, to quantify the jobs. Quantify means, for example, if a company is producing 1,000 units right now. Now the company want to expand their operation and they want to produce 1,500, 2,000 per day. In such a case, you need to hire the staff. You need to hire the number of workers. To determine the staff mix, what type of staff is required, skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, managerial, lower level staff. According to that, the mix we required, according to that, the company will actually go for demand in the market. Staffing level, and avoid unnecessary cost. If you have the idle cost, if you have the excessive employee available, if you have the shortage available, in both the cases, you need to identify it as soon as possible, and you need to go for immediate hiring from the market. Prevent shortages. Monitor compliances of legal requirement with regards to reservations. As I told you already, because in India, we know that we have a reservations available on the basis of caste. So the companies must have to keep in mind regarding the legal requirements whenever they are planning for the human resources. Very simple, I think, slide topic.
Hello.
Yes, please, Chandrabhushan.
Sir, can you please explain external factor, economics, climate, and law and regulatory body?
Economic climate. See, economic climate basically is all about, for example, as we know that there is a standard salary structure. If you talk about, there is a standard, you could say, expectation of cost of living for a particular country, state. If you talk about in India, like for example, if you're working in Mumbai, definitely the expectation regarding your expenses would be quite different. Your cost of living would be quite different as compared to living in a small city. Okay, so this is the economic climate we need to assess. The one factor I'm talking right now. There may be inflation. Then you could say the cost of living, which I told you about, the rents which you have to pay. A lot of factors which you need to keep in mind. According to that, the company's cost and budget may change. Okay, and the law and regulatory bodies, as we discussed, I think the one last point, that is legal requirement in case of reservation, legal requirement in terms of the commitment of the worker, their contract, okay, their duties, responsibilities in case if they are doing some you could say immoral practices, what are the, you could say, suspensions or the charges, or how the company can fire them from the organization. All the legal actually bodies or all the legal regulation you need to follow. Okay, one more important case, like for example, depends on the type of industry you belongs to, you need to get some certification, some permissions, some legal consent from the bodies. Like for example, if you want to open a bank, you need to take the consent from RBI. If you want to become a, you could say, mutual fund distributor, you need to actually become and registered with the SEBI or MFI, we can say, I think better to say, that is mutual fund organization. Okay, so even in the same case in the hotel industry, for example, you need to take the license or some permission from food corporation, okay, or food authorities, we can say. So these are the law and regulatory bodies and their influence. I hope so.
Thanks, sir. But there is a little bit of confusion again in economic climate, how it will impact manpower demand forecasting.
See, for example, let's suppose the company having the budget, for example, of 20 lakh. For example, I'm just giving you, and they need to hire 100, you could say, manpower or 100 work people from the market. Now, definitely for 100, you have certain salary structure decided, and according to the job profile, you have certain salary structure expected for a locality. So if you are actually hiring for a particular location, and there definitely, as we know, that there's a negotiations as well. Okay. So economic climate, not only about the cost of living, not about the salary structure. There are certain, you could say, factor which may be demanded, the perks, benefit. I think you might, if you work in an organization, the government, sorry, the companies provides a lot of, you could say, financial benefits to their workers when it's come to mobile, when it's come to transportation, when it's come to rental payments. Okay, when it comes to their a lot of, you could say, utility benefit which the company also provide. Okay, so these may come under, and this actually become the economic factor. Why so? Because the economic climate of metro cities and a particular you could say tier 2 city is very, very different. Because the main,
Great. Thanks, sir. Got it.
Considered as a GDP of that particular
Thanks, sir.
activity.
Got it.
yes, yes, Mr. Santosh. Yes, yes. Is it correct? Because there are so many factors we can consider
Yeah.
on this economic climate. Understood, I think, everyone.
Yes, example is clear.
Yes, yes, good. So I think it's time to go for a short break, and we'll get back to you at 7:05 sharp. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. So we'll get back to you at 7:05 now.
Okay, sir.
हेलो
हाँ हेलो।
हेलो
क्या भाई बताइए।
हेलो
बताइए अशोक भाई।
सर आगे बताइए सर।
ये 15 मिनट के लिए ब्रेक है अभी. We'll join
Yes, friend, shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, sir.
So let's start with this next topic, that is manpower forecasting techniques. Okay, as we are discussing about the manpower forecasting, so there are certain techniques of how the company can decide upon number of workers working, number of workers required, I think, for the future operations. The first is very simple. That is about the management judgments. Okay, this judgment method is basically more about, you could say, non-probabilistic approach, in which the company or the management or the organization, you could say the think tank, they actually use their experience, their knowledge, their definitely the history from which they are working in the company. They actually, according to that, they review, they actually go for their, they're giving their best possible assessment for such you could say division, and the selection procedure is being basically assessed based on the opinion or the ideas given by the different departments, we can say, or different, you could say, person, those who are having the authority to take certain decisions. Okay, and according to that, the final number may be decided by taking an average of that. That is called the management judgments. Next one we have that is about the ratio trend analysis. Okay, ratio trend is basically nothing but whenever the company is forecasting about the future employees, they always actually study the past ratio in terms of employee turnover ratio we are talking right now. And on the employee turnover, definitely they always assess that up to what extent the manpower retained in the company. So retention ratio, turnover ratio. Okay, these are the two major ratios which you always analyze the trend of that, and according to that, a company may actually look forward for the future selection or future recruitments. Then we have work study techniques. Okay, work study is nothing basically what roles, responsibility which we need to assign, the number of hours of working, the expected output and expected, you could say, level which we are expecting from the a particular person, the number of hours as we discussed already in this case. Work studies basically is all about the profile for which you are looking after to hire a particular individual or a group of individuals, we can say. In that cases, we need to decide and we need to analyze these factors, and according to that, you have the discretion available to select a particular candidate who could say who right match, right fit to that particular option. Next one, Delphi technique. Delphi is very important, very common technique which we talk about, in which a group of experts, they actually analyze, it is more towards, could say, brainstorming. Okay, in that case, they actually estimate the group of, you could say, give their own point of view, give their own opinion, and according to that, the expert, they always actually give their summary, give their reports, and on the basis of the reports as well, we actually go for consolidation of all these data and information and prepare one final report. That is called the Delphi techniques. Okay, then we have the flow model. Okay, flow model is nothing but basically like it is nothing but similar to trend as well. Okay, in this flow model, actually, if you remember, like if someone is working in the industries, they always know about the flow of information and flow of authorities in the company from top management till the lower level. Okay, in that cases, the HR department, HR manager always assess the requirement from top to bottom, and in order to finalize, in order to, you could say, based on those, you could say, requirement, the company actually or department may actually look after the number of, you could say, people required at different position at different level, and they actually go for the an assessment, or they go for the, you could say, the demand for the people, and according to that, they start searching the people from the market. So flow model, I think, basically from top to bottom hierarchy, the number of candidates required for top, for middle, for lower level, and according to that, the company may come up with their advertisement, the company may come up their operations. Okay, next one, I think we have the manpower supply forecasting. Supply is basically is all about the availability of the right candidate in the market. Okay, In that cases, and as we know that because there are certain issues, certain you could say parameters on which we need to assess the particular individual to whom we are supposed to actually hire in the future. Okay, so this may be actually the clarity or the clarify the staff mix exists in the future, which the what the company is looking for, assesses the existing staff level, prevent the shortages as we discussed already in the past. Okay, and the monitor expected future compliance of legal requirement and of job reservation, similar to the previous topic, I think, which we discussed. Haji. Demand and supply and techniques for that. Haji. Shall we move? I think understood. Very simple one.
Yes, sir.
Let's move to the next
Yes,
part.
sir.
Supply analysis. What exactly it covers? So it covers basically these informations. Again, it's very simple topic. Because if we are talking about the human resource, definitely we need to analyze a particular existing human resource in the company on the basis of their skills and ability, as it is mentioned as well. Okay, and these you could say staff may be considered as skilled individuals and managerial individuals. And according to that, we can segregate them. Okay, based on personal data, skills, qualifications, salary, job speed, company data, capability, special references, whatever. So on the basis of this skill set, definitely we can define the first important point about the analysis of the existing human resource. Is it simple? I think very, very simple.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Yes, sir.
Let's move to the next one. Now, when we discuss about the parameters, on the basis of that, you would actually always assess the human resource. Okay, that may be work history of an individual, their strengths, weaknesses, their promotion potential if exist in the employee, career goal, personal data, number and types of subordinate, those who are working under the particular head or a boss or a particular manager in the company, total budget which they manage, and whether the budget they have achieved on time or budget they have actually uh, fulfilled within the given actually constraint available in the company, and previous management duties which they have handled. The basic parameter on which we can assess the human resource. Clear, I think, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Then we discuss about the internal supply, which we discussed already. Okay. So internal supply may be, you could say, assessed on the basis of this following parameters. The first is inflow and outflow. It is about transfer, promotion, separation, resignation, retirements. On the basis of that, definitely there would be a supply shortage or supply demand. A supply requirement, supply assessment would be there. Turnover rate is basically the employee turnover. Condition of working, absenteeism reasons, or absenteeism if it's so the leaves and absences, productivity level of an individual, and job movement, job rotation, or the different job you need to perform at a level. Okay, when we discuss external supply, we are looking for new blood. New blood means new workforce, young workforce. New experiences means new, fresh energy we want to actually provide in the company. Replenish the lost personnel. Definitely, you will remove that. Organizational growth is one of the factor. According to that, you will hire. For diversification purpose as well, you are hiring new employees in the company, and for external sources which we can hire, that is college, university, consultant, competitors, or any other unsolicited applications. Okay, so these are the major sources from where we can actually include human resource, or we can actually assess the supply of human resource from the internal and external sources. It is more a descriptive topic actually. Anji, is it clear, everyone?
Sir, what is replenish lost personnel?
Replenish lost personnel, basically, for example, if let's suppose if you are just working in the market and if you're looking for a particular external supply, okay, for example, you have contacted someone and that individual is basically, maybe because of any reason he is not, because company may or want that person to get hired because he is the one of the candidate who fits to the company's requirement, but maybe possible that a particular person may lose their job, so you will actually hire them in the company. A particular person from the competitor has lost their job because of any reason, you may actually hire that particular individual in your company. So it is basically switching a particular person from one company to other if he or she has lost his job in the other organization.
Okay, sir.
Sir, unsolicited application.
Is actually anything which the companies haven't actually approached through. But like, for example, if the company has given the advertisement for a particular job profile, and I didn't read that, even I don't know whether the company has actually any applications for that. But I am just going through a particular, you could say, direct channel through mail, through you could say, my one references of one of my friend or one of my colleagues, you can say. That is called unsolicited application, which is not through the sources or the mode or channel which the company has initiated.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I have one query.
Yeah, please.
If the application come by the any friends or by any employees, so it is the internal supply, na? Is the reference.
Pardon?
Unsolicited application, as per your explanation, this the reference or any friend's suggestion or friend references are there, na?
But that person is basically external, not belongs to company.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's the reason that would, then only it would be external supply. Else it would be internal supply then.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hanji. Clear, everyone? I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Human resource policy implementation. Okay, so I think most of the topic we already covered up regarding the first and important point regarding recruitment and their selections. Okay, so when we discuss about the recruitment and selection, definitely we know how the company recruit, the types of recruitment, how they select, the procedures, everything is important. Training and development, because once you recruit, definitely you need to train them as per the company's policies, as per the company's skill requirement, the company's ERP requirements, or companies, you could say, softwares, whatever. So that may come under training and development. I think it's very simple point. I think please have a look. We've already covered up in the previous slides. Because once you have understand the demand and supply, now it's time for execution. So the first point is recruitment and selection. Second point is training and development. Any query, any doubt, please?
No, sir.
Done?
Okay, sir.
Next one is
Next topic.
retraining and redeployment. Retraining means basically any new skills we want to provide them, new certification, new, could say, information that may come under retraining and redeployment. Okay, because once a particular worker working in the company and because of certain market changes when it's come to operations, some skill set is required. Okay, so in such a cases, retraining of the existing employee and redeployment is important for that. Retention plan is very important because as we know that it is very, very important that you always need to provide the utmost or the best possible expected input to your workers so that they may retain, they may feel comfortable and confident in the company for the long run. Okay, so that include compensation plan, performance appraisal, avoiding of the conflict, providing green pastures. Green pastures basically is all about how the particular individual is comfortable working in the company for long run. Means definitely is he or she is assessing the opportunity in the company for long run. Clear, I think?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Then we have downsizing plan. Definitely one of the important point, because if the company is suffering some losses, if the company want to trim, company want to cut short their employees, definitely that may be the possibility of downsizing plan as well, which may be the part of your implementation. Manage succession planning, definitely important plan. Succession means, for example, the top manager like Ratan Tata, then Cyrus Misri. Okay, Ambani's, then Mukesh and Anil. Okay, these are the examples we are talking right now. How the succession planning may be done. And these succession planning may be internal and maybe external, maybe from the family and maybe I think from the internal, that is from the existing resources, or from the external as well. That is called succession planning for the important positions of the company. Ajay.
Yes, got it, sir.
Understood? Yeah, very simple it is. I think, yeah, regarding session planning, actually, these are the certain points we have. The analysis of demand for manager and professionals, audit of the existing executives, projection of future likely supply from internal external sources, individual career path planning, career counseling, their promotions, their training and development, their strategic recruitment. This all will come under succession planning, because succession planning is basically the most important concept for the key position on which the person may get retired. Okay, or you are actually planning in advance for at least 10 to 20 years that this would be the right fit for my job. Maybe a particular your child, or maybe any member from your family, that may come under succession planning as well. And the company must they need to understand and keep in mind about all these factors. The last one we have control and evaluation of HRP. Okay, it's very nothing but once you have implemented the policy, you need to see the report, the feedback, the mechanism, the success of your plans, and whether it matches with the expectation of the top management or not, or the HR department or not. That is called your control and evaluation of HRP. Clear, I think, everyone?
Yes.
So I think other than it is almost we have covered up all the points and all the topics. Okay. And I think that is I have to just to discuss few exercises with you. I think that will start in tomorrow's class. Okay. I hope so. This topic is clear to everyone, students.
Yes, sir.
Because yeah, one exercise which I'm thinking to go for. I think so. 1 minute. Yeah, this is the activity for tomorrow actually. Okay, you just note down this activity. You can take a screenshot of this activity. What exactly you have to do, you have to develop an HR plan for a new generation private sector bank having branches in major towns in India. What specific external factor would be important for you to consider? Okay, so this is an activity, and for this activity definitely we'll go for discussion from at least, because we have 30 in the class right now, at least I need inputs from all of you, definitely all of you. So I just need input regarding any 5 external factors or what factor you consider is important. So please, you can just send me the answer first of all before coming to the next class. Please, you have to send the answer. Again, I'm repeating that. Okay, you have to send the answers first. And I think if you want, I can share this activity on your WhatsApp as well. Okay, just give a minute of time, please. I'm sharing it with everyone. I hope you understood what exactly we want. So just it will give you whether you understood this topic or not, what exactly your assessment for this particular type of exercises or this situation if you are in being an HR manager you are, what exactly the proposition, the points which you will actually incorporate for decision making in the organization. Okay, so I'm just sending you just a minute. Yes, friends, I hope so. I've shared and you might have received. Okay, if not, then you can just take a screenshot of this slide. Hanji.
Okay, sir.
Received, na? I think, Anush sir.
Yes, sir. Received.
Mute, sir.
Sir, one thing.
Yes, Chandrabhushan, please.
Sir, one thing I request you to please provide like selection and recruitment and selection process in flowchart. That what we say we should do, like the first we should plan, then advertised, internal, external, like that in a flowchart. Complete
Yes,
process in a flowchart.
Yes.
If possible, can you, sir, please share this?
See, actually, because later on, Chandrabhushan will discuss about job selection. Okay. So in
Okay.
that job selection, we'll discuss that process actually.
Okay.
We have a chart, I think, because later on we have a lot of topics left. Initially, we are discussing only the basic part right now. As of now, we covered only 3 topics: introduction, evolution, and HRP. HRP, I think there are few topics are still left. We'll discuss tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I think this is the activity which you need to complete, and tomorrow we'll go for this small exercise as well. Okay. And then job design will start. No, not job design. Some other topics we have in the syllabus. Okay. So any more query, please? Any more doubt?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm expecting to have an answers from most of the students. Okay. And tomorrow there is no holiday. Okay. So you have to join the class at 6 o'clock sharp. We will discuss one case study tomorrow on HRP. And we will discuss this particular activity as well. Okay. And we'll discuss, I think, few more topics left from HRP. And then we are done with the HRP plan. And from Monday onward, we'll start new topic. Clear?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, friend, you can leave the class. Okay. We are done for the day. Thank you so much, everyone. Please take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You take care, please.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Rahul, please take care.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.